Hi everyone, I'm Whitney, and every Wednesday I share a new tutorial here on my YouTube channel to help sewers and quilters of all skill levels learn new projects and techniques. This week's video is part of my sampler sew along series where I'm sharing 12 traditional quilt blocks and tutorials for all of them so that you can learn how to make a sampler style quilt from start to finish. If you came across this video at random and want to know more about the sew along series and see any of the videos that you may have missed already, you can check out the playlist that is linked down below in the description box, and also make sure to hit that red subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of the future videos in our sew along series. Today's block is called Broken Dishes. This block has been around since the 1790s. It is the earliest recorded and the most common quilt block in history. It is made up of 4 different half square triangle units, and let's get right on to making the block. I wanted to share a few tips for cutting the pieces. I like to use 2 rulers and a rotary cutter on a rotary safe mat. The 2 rulers help get the most accurate cuts. With the fabric still folded like it came off the bolt, I trim the cut edge so it's straight. Then line up a marking on the long ruler with the folded edge and use a smaller square ruler to make sure the long one is the right distance from the cut edge all the way down. In this case, it needs to be 7 inches from the edge. Then unfold the piece and subcut the 7-inch by width of fabric piece down into 2 squares measuring 7 by 7 inches. Set the rest of the strip aside for another block. If you're using fat quarters, do the same, cutting one 7-inch strip, then cut it down to 2 squares that are 7 by 7 inches. Repeat with your second fabric. And by the way, I will have links to all the supplies that I mentioned in this video down below in the description box in case you want some more information on them. You need 2 squares from your light fabric and 2 from your darker or color fabric, each measuring 7 by 7 inches. Now it's time to make the half square triangles. Lay one of the light squares with the right sides up and the darker square right sides down on top. Make sure all the edges are lined up. Then use a ruler to draw a line from 2 opposite corners. It helps to lay the ruler just a bit off-centered so that the drawn line itself lines right up with the corner points. I use a basic ink pen to draw the lines because it's on the darker fabric and it won't show later. Add a couple of pens to hold the 2 layers together. Take the piece over to the sewing machine and sew 1/4 inch away on each side of the marked line. Repeat these same steps with the other 2 squares. You can see the 2 rows of stitching across the diagonal. Use a rotary cutter to cut along the marked line from before. With the darker fabric on top, open up one of the pieces and press the seam smooth. By starting with the darker fabric on top, your seam allowance will be pressed to that side and not be as visible. Now the blocks need to be trimmed down so they all measure 6.5 inches square. I have a ruler that happens to be that exact size, which is super helpful, but if you don't, just use a ruler that is larger. Line up the diagonal seam with the diagonal points across the ruler and trim off the edges all the way around. By starting with slightly larger squares and trimming it down this way, it helps with having more accurate blocks. Lay each half square triangle unit as shown, so 2 white points and 2 color points meet from opposite corners. Flip 2 of the pieces over on top of the other 2 so they are right sides together with the edges lined up. Sew along the edge to attach the blocks in sets of 2. Open each set up and press the seam allowance toward the darker side again. Lay the two halves back out in the correct orientation. Then place them right sides together and sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Press the block one last time and it is complete. It should measure 12.5 inches at this point, which will be 12 inches when it is sewn into a quilt. Take a picture of your finished quilt block and make sure to share it on your favorite social media site with the hashtag #SamplerSewAlong so that we can all see it. Then go ahead and pick out the fabrics that you want to use for your next block, which is shown here on the graphic in gray. You can find the entire Sampler Sew Along playlist linked right over here to the side, and below that is some other half square triangle projects. And until next time, happy sewing!